Yo, what's up? I hope everyone had a very, very enjoyable holiday weekend. We're back at it. This is, was supposed to be the wrap up show for Notre Dame's convincing 45-14 win over the Stanford Cardinal. We'll get into that. We'll talk about the full season. We'll talk about players that should be MVP for both sides of the ball and the chances of Notre Dame making it into the college football playoff. But news broke this evening. I believe it was on the Paul Feinbaum show. Pete Sampson of the Athletic and other athletic writers, the LSU writer for the Athletic, broke the news that Brian Kelly is the main target for LSU for their job opening once Lincoln Riley said no and decided to take the USC job and leave Oklahoma. So it's a lot to talk about, a lot to get into.
A lot.
Hey, of course, I'm Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics, and that dude over there, the original Lucky Lefty himself, is Malik Zaire at Overtime Malik. And before we get, because I have some strong comments, and my comments are not so much about Brian Kelly and LSU and the rumors. My comments are really about what I've been seeing and hearing from Notre Dame fans in response to the rumors.
Yeah.
That kind of make me feel uneasy. But let's start with the game on Saturday night, 45-14. Defense, once again, doing a masterful job. You know, they gave up 14 points. One was late in the fourth quarter. Urisic, the tight end for Stanford, we're going to have to deal with him next year. That youngster, he's keeping the tradition of Stanford tight ends going.
That's right.
Pretty good. But we knew on both sides of the ball, along the front, that Notre Dame would be able to dominate. They definitely did that with the defensive line. Offensive line, you would have liked, I think Kyron was at like 3.8 yards per carry. You would have liked to see the offensive line establish more push along the offensive line and push Stanford around a little bit more. But the secondary, they couldn't cover our guys. They couldn't cover our wide receivers, our running backs out the backfield, and definitely not Michael Mayer as a tight end. And George Tackett even got a touchdown.
That's right.
Receiving. So I think Tommy Rees recognized that early, said to himself, I'm not going to keep banging my head against the wall. We're going to go ahead and attack these guys, jump on them early, and then unleash the pass rush. The most amazing thing that I thought that stood out about that game was Jack Cohn and his performance. Of course, we know they baited him into that interception, which led to that first 7 points of the game. But other than that, Jack Cohn really, since the Virginia Tech game, has been a steadying force for that offense and for this team. And you start to see the fruit of why they brought him to Notre Dame in what most would call a transition year and having unknowns after the departure of Ian Book.
He definitely has been the driving captain, the guide the ship into the deck or into the dock. Real solid. You know, he's got veteran oceanography experience. He's got some captain in him. He's been able to maneuver through some tides and some waters through his years in college football. And he was the right man to be able to guide it through the late season part of the experience that you kind of need a mature, older veteran, a guy that's been able to go through a full season, because a lot of that is not talked about. That a lot of these young guys haven't been through a full 12-game schedule, you know, so finishing strong is a huge thing that they have to see from other guys on the team, and having it at the quarterback position has proven to benefit us and keep us getting stronger as the season going on. You know, we haven't tailed off. If anything, we've been dominating. They must have been watching the Lucky Lefty podcast, playing it on the big screen at the team meal on Monday and telling them, hey, listen, dominating is what we need to do. And they came out there and did it the last 2 weeks, and we've put everything in on the table of what we can show this season. And we kind of got to let the chips fall where they may.
And moving on from that, you know, one of the things we have to establish is Marcus Freeman in this defense. what they did in dominating the second half. You can talk about the schedule being soft and the teams they faced really weren't a big threat offensively, especially once Brendan Armstrong was injured in that Virginia game. But with all of that being said, when you are an overwhelming favorite and you overwhelmingly have more talent than the team, you should go and show that. And
Right.
they lined up and they dominated the teams
Yeah.
they should have dominated. And you can look at the North Carolina games where there was a lot of missed tackles, fundamentals that allowed North Carolina to possibly put up more points. But at the same thing, you look back at North Carolina, that's when they really started to get on a roll as a team.
Yeah, that's
And
right. We called
offense
him early.
started to catch up
We
around
called him
that
early.
time.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so Sam Howell, the last 4 or 5 weeks has been amazing. If he had done that early in the season, he might have lived up to the Heisman hype. So Marcus Freeman, the job he did with that defense stood out. Once again, we talked about this. I thought that Stanford, because of Elijah Higgins and his size, would try Cam Hart because Cam has been bored, right? Teams really haven't tried him in the last 2 or 3 games, and they tried him. He jammed them on a nice back shoulder that they attempted. He jammed them right at the line of scrimmage, broke the rhythm of that play, and he was upset because he felt like he should have picked it off. The linebackers were flying around. We did have 1 or 2 bad fits by J.D. Bertrand in a couple of plays that allowed him to get 10-yard runs, but nothing over that. So the tackling in the secondary was really good. And once again, you see guys like Xavier Watts playing safety, and the other youngsters, Ramon Henderson, showing that he can play safety and showing the range that he has, which makes you feel good about that position once Kyle Hamilton does graduate. You just have a lot to be excited about as Notre Dame fans on the defensive side of the ball. Isaiah Foskey and Kyron Williams, like, we have to be real. Might be the last time we see them in Notre Dame uniforms.
Especially if this news, especially after this news.
Kyron, as the beating he's taking, and he's always getting little nicks here and there. Teams are always looking for running backs, 2nd, 3rd round, getting value. Isaiah Foskey, double-digit sacks, very talented, probably could come back and become even better and hop into the back end of the 1st round, maybe the middle of the 1st round. But this is a very deep year with edge rushers in the draft. Very deep. So it's a lot for him to go up against if he would go out and lead, because he didn't come into this season with that fanfare. So I don't know if he would jump over the guys like Aiden Hutchinson or Jabo, the kid Thibodeau.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah. And there's some guys, the kid Lil down at Texas A&M, some guys that just came in the season with a lot of fanfare that lived up to that I think would be in front of him. So if he's comfortable possibly being the 7th or 8th guy taken as an edge rusher, ended up in the 3rd round. But if he wants to be 1st round type, he has the potential, and more than likely, it would probably be best for him to come back to get to that level.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's an interesting position to be in when, hearing that your coach may be leaving. I think he saw himself as a prime 1st rounder coming back the next year. It was kind of set up for him. I think he proved that he should be on that big conversation, that big stage conversation. And he's been proven a key piece to our defense in all situations. I do think it's kind of crazy that, that's a tough decision to make, because damned if you do, damned if you don't. With a hot season like this, not having the media backing as much as you would the next year, the media can do a lot to boost your draft status. So it can make it hard not to want to know what to do, necessarily. But we would love to have him back, especially with the schedule that we have and we kick off with, especially playing Ohio State. Was it the first game, I think, or something like that?
Yeah.
I think that's some pressure that in that first game alone, he can go and establish himself as a 1st round guy.
Well, that's something that stuck out to me. Also, what do you think about the offense and the explosive plays? We knew Lorenzo, because of the injury to Avery Davis, would go inside. I said this because they ran a lot of the dangerous. What made Lorenzo so dangerous is that it gave Notre Dame two options that can take the top off the defense with him and Brady.
With him and Brady.
Now you put him inside, and he's more crossing routes, option routes, and he hasn't gotten to the point where he's a very good route runner. He'll get there, but he hasn't gotten to the level of Avery Davis, who has that experience. So with all of that being said, it's like, man, I want to see if he's going to be used inside. Let's graduate him to some seam routes, some post routes, and some things to really use his speed. Because, I mean, if you're using him to clear out, using his speed to clear out, that only opens everything else up for guys underneath, dig routes, and other options.
Yeah, that's right. And to put him in a position where you have to be such a technician early, he's still a raw athlete that just wants to run past people. I think this is an early challenge for him, but it's something that I think he can accept and move, especially being a replacement for Avery Davis. And it just can do well and wonders for guys, especially Tyler Buckner, down those seams in the middle, making things happen.
Okay, bro. Breaking news, man. Breaking news. Help. LSU, an announcement more than likely will come tomorrow. And I was saving this. I'm glad we're on now because I was actually saving this. My guy over at Brian Driscoll over at Irish Breakdown wrote a great article. We had a conversation early on today. I had connections down in the South, alumni from LSU that told me that there was smoke, serious smoke behind this LSU Brian Kelly situation. We can just go ahead and let loose now. I was told that Brian Kelly had been talking to Woodward, who is the athletic director at LSU, weeks ago. This is not something, these talks did not just start over the weekend. These conversations started weeks ago. It was basically down to him and Lincoln Riley. That's what it was down to. Brian Kelly and Woodward, the athletic director at LSU, shared the same agents. Jim Sexton and Trace Armstrong, they share the same agents. So conversations were taking place back door. So once the Lincoln Riley chess move was made, everybody knew this was coming. Everybody involved knew this was coming. So Notre Dame fans, this is my thing, don't react like Oklahoma fans. You're not the scoring lover. You're not the scoring lover. Yeah, your roster's good. Your recruits the next 2 years are good. The next guy that comes in or your next head coach, if they are a coach that can get you to that next level, you're talking about winning championships. Now, I know everybody's upset. You feel like the jilted lover. And we can jump into it. And then I'll let you roll, Malik, because I know you have notes on this. You have experience with this. This is not the first time Brian Kelly has flirted.
No.
Right?
No.
So I'm going to say
he was supposed to leave to go to the NFL a couple years ago.
Right. To the NFL. That was 2012. Then around 2016, he had another one. Right?
Yep.
Notre Dame re-ups him. Extends him out to 2024. And this is what I told Brian Driscoll when Brian Driscoll was like, I don't understand. He would be stupid to go to LSU. I said, you have to understand this. If I'm Jim Sexton and I'm his agent, I'm telling him this is not about whether or not Notre Dame is the better school.
No.
This is not what it's about. It's my job to secure you the bag.
The bag.
And we have leveraged Notre Dame from a money standpoint as much as we can.
There's nothing else you can do. I have to do my job.
Absolutely. The only thing that can get you more money at Notre Dame is a national championship. That's it. That's the only thing that can get you more money. And Jim Sexton is looking at Brian Kelly and saying, yo, I got 12 to 14 million waiting for you right now.
Right now.
LSU is in shambles. If you get LSU back to 10 wins in 2 years and rebuild it, not win a championship, just get it back to that place in 2 years, I'll go get you some more money.
Some more
Bump
money.
it up to 16.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe if you do it if you do 2 years back to back playoffs or something.
Exactly.
That's 20.
Exactly. Now you're up to 16. If you win a national championship in year 4 or 5, now you're up to 18 to 20. And
we're saving
this
money.
is the key. This is the key. and I blew his mind with this. Brian Kelly had to ask himself, and we talked about this off air. Brian Kelly had to ask himself, can I win a national championship with Tyler Buckner or Dante Moore? That's what it comes down to. Either I can win a national championship with Tyler Buckner, or I can get Dante Moore. I know I can get him.
I know I can get him at LSU.
Right? Because my contract is up. My clock says I have to win a national championship by 2024. Otherwise, there's no money or no more money to be made.
There's no more money to be made. It's dried
None.
up. It's dried up.
Right? Or in 3 years, I can get LSU back to the point of competing.
Being good.
Being good. I'm not on the national title clock, and I'm making bank. That's an easy choice. He was shocked when I said if I was Brian Kelly, I would do it in a heartbeat. And it's not about Notre Dame being prestigious, being a better program, being a better job as a head coach. Looking at the landscape of college football and the way expansion is about to take place, he doesn't have to beat Nick Saban to get into the playoffs.
No.
We've seen how the committee elevates the SEC over everybody else. All he has to do is be the second best team in the SEC or the third best team with the 12-team expansion coming down the road, and he'll be in the playoffs. This is a wonderful move by his agents, Trace Armstrong and Jim Sexton, leveraging the situation. They didn't leverage Notre Dame. They leveraged LSU.
That's right.
They leveraged LSU because they knew this is what's going to happen. This is what they're located in Los Angeles. They know people at USC. They knew who USC really wanted. They knew that. So they knew once that domino fell, guess who will be next in line? Their guy, Brian Kelly. They've been setting this up for weeks. As I said before, I have sources down in Baton Rouge that told me specifically they have been talking at backdoor with Brian Kelly for weeks. This is not something that just popped up overnight. So when they have the press conference and Brian Kelly says they contacted me on Sunday night, don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
CAA, same agent as Woodward. You guys were talking backdoor, talking about the situation in LSU. You have to do. They lost out on Mel Tucker.
Lost out.
And they end up with Brian Kelly. You can just only tip your cap. That's all you can do is tip your cap. That's all you can do is tip your cap because they got their guy.
They got their guy. And Coach Kelly got the best resume to fill in that. I'll call BK went BK on this one. Yeah. Meaning bad crazy with the crazy being the K. BK did a BK just like he does every time. Yeah. And you can't blame him. He's the most business of any coach out there. He knows what it's like to be able to keep the heat off of him and still be looking for the real bag. And he found it in a perfect situation where it's almost written to happen. You can't blame him. And he knew that it would be way harder to win this championship 10 years in when the money would dry up, that it was too hard. He knew he couldn't do it with Tyler. If he knew he could do it with Tyler, Tyler would have been in there the whole time.
The whole time.
So that tells you what he thinks about Tyler. Then he said, I don't feel like locking in this. I feel like I can do best doing what I do best.
Yep.
Buying time, making you good enough, and steady raking enough bags because I'm BK that goes BK. Bad crazy.
Yo, this is crazy. We just wanted to talk about the rumor, and now everything is being confirmed. We're going to get to your questions and comments right now, man. We're going to go ahead and call the audible right here. We spin a different Lucky Lefty podcast. Shaun Davis, Malik Zaire. Let's get to some of these comments, man. Oh, man.
We know what Brian Kelly's famous for, man. You know, he knows where the money is at, and he's not afraid to press the button. No emotions attached to it. He already told you that it wasn't enough to just be the winningest coach at Notre Dame. He said, I did everything I could, basically. Because he said winning the championship is all that matters. And look, I fought the hard fight. I gave it all I got. But it's time to retire in a nice crib. You know he likes nice stuff.
Yeah, D-Rock Irish says, I'm all over the boards at Richard Maltby. I was listening on the Oklahoma podcast. Shout out to RJ Young because he's having a conniption today, trying to keep Oklahoma fans together. Very interesting on speculation why Riley left. More to it than money. Look, the move that Texas and Oklahoma made, they made without consulting Lincoln Riley. He wasn't in on the decision. Now, he's a coach.
He's a coach. Yeah, like what are you talking
And you
about?
can say, yo, you're an administrator. I mean, you're a coach. You're not an administrator.
Yeah, we're gonna be in this way longer.
But I'm not saying he has to be a part of the decision making, but there should have been a heads up.
Why? He was gonna do what he did.
Oh, yeah. You do. Come on, man. You have a meeting with all your coaches and say, look, this is the decision that we're choosing. More than likely we're going to make. We're going to move conferences, and we're doing it for these reasons. You don't have your coaches hearing it from the news. You don't do that. You don't do that.
Man,
because number one, you have to read the room. Number one, it's other jobs out there. Like you knew the USC job was going to be available.
Yeah.
You knew it was a possibility that another SEC job would be available. You have to read the room. You have to read the landscape. That irritated him. And I'm not saying he's right because he's a head coach, but I'm just saying he was irritated. Come in, and he's in the same position as Brian Kelly. He had to ask himself, can I win a national championship at this school?
That's right.
Because really things had kind of leveled off for him. Early on, he had a lot of success.
He's one of the few people in college football, maybe even history, that can see his whole career hit a peak.
Yeah.
Like he lived out the most potential you can live out. He was able to do that unfazed and was able to walk away.
He had the Baker squad that lost to Georgia in overtime in the semifinals. He comes back. He loses with Kyler Murray to Alabama.
Yep.
And then he loses to Joe Burrow and LSU. So, I mean, he's been through that where he's been to the college football playoffs 3 times in 4 years.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, it's not as easy and things level off. And you have to ask yourself, you have to be honest with yourself and say, yo, do I reset the clock and go to a situation where I know I can rebuild? And the Pac-12, let's be real. The Pac-12 isn't that difficult to dominate.
No, and he knows that he's going to get the best quarterback in the country for the next 2 or 3 years.
Easy.
So he's like, all I need is the best quarterback, and we good. Because it's a quarterback league in the Pac-12.
And the top quarterback that was headed to Oklahoma immediately decommitted, right? Spencer Rattler jumps into the
immediately decommitted. Yeah, immediately.
He's gone, and you're out there in California. You're heavy into the prep football out there. You know the lay of the land. Next year is a very, very good year in the state of California for high school football.
Oh, 100%. There's a lot of top quarterback talent. You got Nico 5 minutes away. Malachi Nielsen, he's about 20 minutes away. And we actually play Malachi next week. So maybe he could be the Bryce Young of California to SEC, that he could be the LSU. So I think there's potential there. But then I think LSU is also just a very, very good place for Brian Kelly because LSU isn't known for quarterbacks either.
Yeah.
He don't have to be expected to bring in a Lincoln Riley recruit like.
But wait a minute. This is the key. The kid he was trying to flip, the quarterback he was trying to flip, is now going to follow him. Howard Walker is going to follow him to LSU.
Howard Walker.
I'm just saying. He has a quarterback. That's going to be his first quarterback. He's talked to him, trying to flip him. He has a relationship with him, has a relationship with his father, who played at LSU. So that's his first. He has a press conference tomorrow, and his first signing is like the next day.
Yeah.
Like Walker commits like the very next day, and he's looking at the situation. Irish fans, I understand, man. Look, this is not about whether or not Notre Dame is a better job than LSU. That's not what this is about. This is about money and reestablishing your ability to be able to leverage moving forward. Brian Kelly no longer had leverage at Notre Dame. Notre Dame wasn't giving him any more money.
He said, "For what?
No,
you do good, but that's just not good enough."
like we extended you and we gave you more money to get Marcus Freeman.
Yeah,
you can't come back to us. You can't leverage us. So at that point, the decision is real easy. We have to hear the numbers. If that man got 14 million without a national championship, I can't blame him.
Because who else is doing that?
Nobody.
Dabo had to do it. Saban had to do it.
14 mil without a title?
Ryan Day had to do it.
But we knew, and we said this on the Slant weeks ago. We said Mel Tucker had reset the market.
That's right.
Once he got his deal, we were like, yo.
Coach Kelly said, whoa, wait a minute.
Right.
I need 3 of them things up there.
Right. And you see,
how? I could just roll out the sheet.
Yeah.
The list is endless for my resume compared to Mel Tucker's. You know, y'all keeping Mel Tucker for all that cash? Oh yeah, I need to leave.
Yeah.
He had no choice.
We got our guy Anthony Solomon. Everybody out there, we appreciate you chiming in. 100 million reasons to leave ND for LSU. Yeah.
And it was too much pressure.
Yeah.
Too much pressure over there. He was like, whoa, it's building up too much. Let me go ahead and scoot on out. In fact, this is a better leave than the Cincy move to Notre Dame.
Oh, without question.
It's a better move because Cincinnati, everybody thought he was gonna ride that thing out the whole season. He really got one up on that. He tricked us on that one. But this move, I think everybody, once they saw the dominoes fall, they said, okay, we understand if he gotta go.
Yeah.
We understand. How do you I don't know. I think Notre Dame fans, if we don't do anything this year, I think he was expected to be talked about on the hot seat anyway. So it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I got 2 work that says Kelly is leaving because Jack hired Freeman, not Kelly. I think I get the gist of what you're trying to say. Look, what Brian Kelly tried to bring, the list of people he tried to bring, once he lost Clark Lee, was subpar, period.
Yeah.
Right?
Look at his O-line choice.
Subpar.
He's staying in the corner.
You know, the people at Notre Dame felt like this program was at a point where it was national championship or bust, and rightfully so. You know, they said, yo, we have to come better than that for this next defensive coordinator. And that's where Marcus Freeman came in. But don't get it twisted. Once Brian Kelly sat down with him and he talked to him, Brian Kelly was the one that went to bat and said, yo, I need more money to get this dude from LSU. Like, don't get it twisted. No, Brian Kelly is not like, oh, man, he was forced on me. No, that was a discussion. You fell in love with him once you talked to him, and you were the one that went back to administration and said, yo, I need more money. We need this guy. So, in a sense, I understand what you're saying initially, but nah. He also says that Kelly will fail miserably at LSU. I'm not going to say that. Brian Kelly's a good coach, man. Look,
he's a good coach.
For all the things that I've had to say about how he's handled certain situations, making him the conductor of the petty train, and everything we've done, Brian Kelly's a good coach. Very good coach. I don't think he's elite level. He's not that.
He's not even a Dabo,
yeah.
Urban Meyer. He's right under that. Just right. He's a Lincoln Riley. Him and Lincoln Riley are good in the same category.
They're pretty much in the same boat, right?
Him and Ed Orgeron and all them boys, they in the same kind of. I put in Gus Malzahn in there. I think Coach Kelly and Gus Malzahn are very similar.
I think I would put him a little bit above Gus just for the longevity. And one thing Brian Kelly and Notre Dame have used each other in this relationship.
Yeah, 100%.
What I mean by that is the brand stuck with him when everything was rocky early. With his persona, how he related to people, and how there were alumni that didn't particularly care for him. You know, his sideline demeanor, all of that, right? Then the national championship game 2012 kind of smoothed things over.
Yeah.
Then you get to that 4-8 season and things are falling apart in the program. You were a part of that. You know what it was like inside that locker room, inside the program. You can testify to that. It was bad.
Tough stuff.
It was bad. And the brand stuck with him. The brand stuck with him and allowed him to right the ship and go on the run that eventually made him the winningest head coach in Notre Dame history.
But Notre Dame gave him so many chances that many schools wouldn't give any other coach. I mean,
absolutely.
The list of all the things that we know and don't know, haven't heard of, the probably leaked stories to come, but he survived the storm, to say the least. He's been through the worst and the best of being on the closest to being fired and being on the highest of winning to being the winningest head coach. I don't think Notre Dame will have another stint with a coach like they did Coach Kelly, because you really can't find anybody at this point that got the same kind of resume at most.
Right.
Unless you're paying Ryan Day $1 trillion or something.
Man, it's crazy. And to think about everything we're saying, the thing that concerns me, and I'll point this out, and I'm glad we have a lot of Irish fans in here, man, because I really want you guys, give me the input based upon what I'm saying. You have to know how to let go. You have to know how to let go. Like, when you have a relationship, man, you want things to go right. It's tumultuous. It's up and down. You have good times. And when they're good, they're good. And then you have some downtime. But you can never feel like, or never cheat yourself out of happiness, your happiness, right? Notre Dame deserves to win a national championship, yo.
Yeah.
And they deserve a coach that believes at this point that they can get them over the hump. And if Brian Kelly isn't that dude, you got to let him go. I don't care how many games he's won. I don't care how many playoffs he's gotten us to. I don't care how much he's made it better. I don't care how much you look back at the Willinghams and the Weisses and the Davies and you say, oh, well, he's better than that. Yeah, but he's not what you want.
No.
He's not what you want. And he's showing you today that he's not the one that believes he can win a championship here. So you got to be willing to let him go.
He's I'm out of here.
You got to be willing to let him go and not be bitter about it. And just understand, yo, it didn't work out. We didn't get the national championship. We were just as good to him as a brand and a fan base as he's been to us.
It's been a real healthy relationship.
It was we both can like shake hands, part ways, and be like, yo, we good. You know, and maybe 30 years from now, we can be friends and we can bring you back to celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate the winningness. Yeah, hey, you do a tour or something.
Yeah.
LSU played Notre Dame at home or something, you know. So, but now it makes it real tough on us. Who we gonna find? Who we finding?
Let's get to that in a second. This is a dirty move, my guys. How are you going to take this record and then bolt a lateral move? My God, my disdain for this man is unreal. Hey, are you kidding me?
It's cool. Let it go.
That was the best thing he could add to his resume this year.
Yeah.
Are you for real?
He said, let me grab that top spot, and I got everything I need. I don't need nothing else. I'm
Notre Dame's all-time winningest coach. Give me the bag.
Yeah, now what?
Give me the bag.
Now what? That's a dub for him. He tried to downplay it so hard. You know, it doesn't mean anything without that. It means a lot to you because you can go anywhere now. You took the key to the city.
Yeah.
I got the ultimate piece. You're gonna have to pay me. Look at this. Look at this. I got this. You can't. Yeah. That's an easy big contract. We starting at $12 million. So crazy.
Man, Anthony Solomon said Kelly brought this program from ruins, but he has hit the ceiling at Notre Dame. Totally agree. Totally agree. And Malik, you were on this earlier in the season. And I know on one of the slants that we had, you can go check out all our previous shows that archived on YouTube channel. Follow us, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Check out all of our previous content. I know you discussed this on the slant one time when you were talking about Brian Kelly, what he's done, and expecting more. And as a fan base, not being afraid to ask for more from a coach that's done a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
He's probably looking like, what else can I do for you guys? And we like nothing. And this is the perfect opportunity. Now we petition for a coach we feel like has the drive. Now it has to be better than what we just had to make a vertical move, not a lateral move.
Yeah.
But that's a slim pickings considering he's got that best winningest coach of Indy history. That's a hard thing to replace.
So,
but I do want to make a quick point. I don't think that will affect recruiting. I don't think kids were leaning as heavy as they do on Lincoln Riley to Oklahoma.
Right.
I don't think that will affect what happens so much with Notre Dame, which is good for the next head coach in terms of having a great roster.
Now, this is the thing, though. Because I don't know how this will go, but more than likely, let's say everything goes right next week, right? Next weekend. Everything goes right. Let's say Michigan loses to Iowa. And then Oklahoma State loses to Baylor.
Well,
Georgia bangs Alabama.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's in.
Easy.
Marcus Freeman has to be your interim coach for that playoff.
Is Coach Kelly leaving like before the playoffs?
Dude, if I'm administration, you're not lingering around waiting to see if we get into the playoffs. No, you're not about to play me like that. No, come get your stuff. Matter of fact, we'll pack it for you. We'll put it to the left, like Beyonce said.
You got to get up out of here.
You got to go. Like,
but if you Coach Kelly, Coach Kelly hopping on that plane like, I got better weather out here, man. But I do think, but you said Marcus Freeman being the interim coach, is Notre Dame going to put a first-year head coach
for the playoffs?
For the playoffs?
Well, it could be him and Elston, right?
It'll be a combo. I think they'll edge it to Elston just because
Elston probably has more tenure, and you would probably want. You know what? In wisdom, we just want Freeman to concentrate on the defense.
That's it. We don't need to put no extra.
You're right. You're right. So it'll probably be Elston that they will lean to. He'd be
are the kids playing for Elston to win in the playoffs? Is that the motivating factor? It's terrible. Could we even get we can't even get we have to hire in hire. And right now, if Freeman, I want Freeman with Elston's experience.
That's cool. So the question you asked me, I'm interested in seeing what Lucky Lefty Nation says. Who's next, right? So the Luke Fickell is going to be talked about. Marcus Freeman will definitely get an interview. Mike Elston might get an interview. Bob Stoops has been mentioned, but now he's the interim coach for Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? So would you even want Bob Stoops?
No. Bob Stoops would be a bigger linger than Coach Kelly.
Our boy DBZ says, pack your That's right, boy. That's right, DBZ. Pack your and get out of here. Yeah, or else you'll find it burning out by the grotto. For real.
Out by the grotto, yeah, for real. Yeah, the grotto piece will also get kind of hectic too.
Yeah. I got Searcher Green 9. He has some guys he thinks will be on the list. Bob Stoops talked about him. John Harbaugh. I mean, Jeff Brom. He's a great offensive mind. He's done okay at Purdue. Matt Rule.
I think Urban is the best reach.
Luke
Urban
Fickle.
is the best reach. Urban don't want to be in Jacksonville, man.
Dave Aranda, Bill O'Brien. Oh, now if they go get Urban,
Yeah,
that's
what
deal.
we need. That's what
That's
we
a done deal.
done deal. We win.
You
We'll
call
win.
him. He can leave right now.
Leave right because he don't want to be in Jacksonville.
No, he
It's
can pull
too big of a job.
He can pull a Nick Saban, and he can give us the same results.
He got the team ready.
Man, Bill O'Brien.
Stay away from Bill O'Brien. Hell no.
Dude, they don't even want Bill O'Brien in Alabama.
Yeah.
Man, if you listen to the phone calls that the Alabama fans made after this weekend,
out of here.
They want no parts of Bill O'Brien. Dave Aranda reportedly said no to USC. That's the report.
See,
I don't know how much I believe that. Like you said, Luke Fickle coming here will be interesting because I would be interested in seeing if Marcus Freeman would be open to working under him again or just bounce.
He would. That would be bad in-house business.
Yeah.
Like, man, I wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
I just got done with you. But Luke Fickle would be a cooler Pat Fitzgerald to Notre Dame.
Now, see, this is what Urban after what he just did. You're gonna have to explain to me what he did. I need specifics. Because if you're about to get in your pulpit, I need you to tell me what he did specifically. I hope he's not talking about the girl at the bar.
He's gonna be plenty away from all of that. He's gonna be good.
See, that's what we'll be chasing skirts around the grotto with two fingers out. Man, no, look. Trust me. Man, look. Most of these college coaches are dirty, dude.
Yeah. And Orgeron was a plan. They planned to get him out of there.
Dirty dudes. Not too many Mark Ricks in the world.
No.
They got rid of Mark Rick.
Mark Rick don't got a job.
So, he don't have a job.
Because he ain't winning games.
He
should have been a little bit dirtier.
These schools don't care, man. They don't care about that.
They don't care.
The biggest problem with Urban is his wife. He got to deal with that.
Yeah, it ain't nothing football related. That football related, no.
His wife and his kids. And he's not, Ed Orgeron just got the boot.
We don't want no Ed.
But he did the dumb. He tried to holler at somebody, a big wig's wife, which is the goofiest thing you could ever do. You're not that powerful as the head coach, my man.
The championship season was too special for him.
Once again, you can't get caught being dirty and get hired at ND. Man, do you think ND is clean and hasn't had a dirty coach on campus? I'm going to leave it at that. Come on, we got to get off our high horse, man.
Yeah.
We got to get off our high horse.
Doesn't have a job for a reason.
Now, you brought up Urban. I wasn't even thinking about Urban Meyer. I promise you I wasn't, because I'm really cool with if they decide to go Marcus Freeman, right?
Is Notre Dame being as traditional as they? You see how they talking in the comments. Do you think they will be comfortable putting a first-year head coach in a potential playoff position?
Hey, man. All I know is moving forward, Marcus Freeman has to be on your staff. That is, if you want to recruit.
Yeah. If you want to recruit, if you want to save recruiting, he's got to be the top highest earner, if not head coach.
And if he's going to be on your staff as a defensive coordinator, that means the guy that comes in has to be someone he respects. It has to be an elite head coach that he can respect and he wants to stay there and help lead the way because he is, without a doubt, the best recruiter on that staff right now.
That's right. By hands down.
And this is the point. Search Green 9 is like, name one that was caught. That has nothing to do with it. We didn't have social media back then. Like I said, if you really want to go back in the day, there were no cameras during the Bob Davie era.
Yeah. Lou Holtz era neither.
No.
And Lou Holtz.
Like, come on, man. Let's keep it all the way funky. There was no, so this dude got caught at his own restaurant on camera. That's the only reason he felt comfortable, because it was his spot.
It was his space, his home, his second home.
His spot. That's why he felt comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So, no. And it's like, yeah, that's your point. But our point is, let's not get on the high horse like it has not happened. It has, and it continues to happen. So, I'm just telling you, man. I think that's why he went to the NFL, because of that stench. And he's going to let the stench fade a little bit from the previous situation in Ohio State with the assistant coach.
Yeah.
And in 2 or 3 years or a year, maybe next year, he'll come back and people will forget.
That's right.
They always forget. They
Yeah,
forgot about Florida and Ohio State.
If Marcus Freeman goes to the playoffs and win that thing, he got to be there.
And he said, search Green 9. See, this is the thing. It's not that Indy, I don't care. I care. I'm realistic. I'm realistic about what really happens with the administration. Every administration covers up stuff. Every single administration in big time college football covers up stuff. Everyone. And I want to get off this topic, man, because this is, it gets spun the wrong way. People think we're urban apologists. That's not. I'm just not about to get on my pulpit and point fingers and act like our program is so different than other programs, because I don't care, Protestant, Catholic, whatever the pro-state school, big time football dictates that you protect the money and you protect the brand. And the only way you do that is by covering things up. And no program is exempt from that. No program has ever been exempt from that.
I think a hire that'd be really good for Notre Dame is our guy Dan Mullen.
What?
When you talk about offense,
you talking about as an OC?
As a head coach.
Head coach.
I think Dan Mullen's our guy.
No, bro.
I think Dan Mullen's our guy.
The reports I heard about the stuff he was dealing with, he needs a therapist right now. Man, the reports that came out about some of the things he was dealing with and how terrible he was, because you can't be bad with people and public speaking, especially when you represent Notre Dame. You can't.
He had to deal with a different crowd out there.
He had to deal with a different crowd. I'm just telling you, as bad as the reports are about him as an ambassador for the program outside, and then not wanting to recruit and not being the best recruiter on the staff, like your head coach has to be the best recruiter on the staff, or one of the best recruiters on the staff. That's one of the things that really ailed Brian Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great recruiter, man. He gets the right guys each and every time to be in that position. So,
yeah, I don't know about that one. Dan Mullen is a coach.
I don't
know if I can rock with that one, bro.
Florida is a bad place to go in there and not go in there with an iron fist. You gotta. Urban is a different type of guy, but Dan Mullen in the right environment would be good for us.
See, from a brand standpoint, it's not so much. Well, we know Notre Dame has tried to get Urban Meyer before. Yeah, let's be real. So wait a minute. After the Florida incident and everything that went on, Notre Dame still went after Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
It's just like, dude, Notre Dame doesn't care about going after coaches with a little dirt. They don't.
Because they know their environment will give you the best chance to succeed.
Yes.
And if you're really good, we're going to have you back.
And once he left Ohio State, whether you want to believe it or not, he has connections to this program.
Yeah, he does.
There's always been back channel talk between Notre Dame and Urban Meyer. Always.
I mean, so, we forget, too, that Coach Kelly and going through the scandals that had happened during his tenure and how they were covered by the school and dealt with the way they were dealt with. Coach Kelly wasn't the cleanest guy in the world. But
no,
because he's protected by the brand and he bought into the brand, he's the winningest coach at Notre Dame. You ain't even thinking about what happened and could have happened.
Yo, Brian Kelly survived a tragedy early on in his tenure that would have taken 80% of head coaches out.
Easy. They wouldn't have finished the season. They wouldn't have finished the season. And the brand protected him. Yep. And for 2 seasons, Notre Dame was the laughing stock of the national media because of that. He survived that.
And he survived it. Why? Because of the brand.
Yeah.
And the brand protected the money.
He survived having open anger issues on national television. Who else is surviving that?
Man.
He talking about he went on a retreat in the offseason. When any other coach, you cussing at kids like that at Notre Dame and going crazy, they're not taking that. Tyrone Willingham couldn't be acting like that in front of what?
No.
So if you the right one, they'll get you through.
Absolutely.
We're almost like the Pittsburgh Steelers and how we take care of our coaches. If they like you.
So once again, this was supposed to be the wrap-up show. We were supposed to be talking about Notre Dame's 45-14 win over Stanford, but news broke in the middle of this, and most people say on that damn Mullen. Yeah, I would have to agree with our boy D-Rock Irish. I don't know about that one.
Oh man.
And Urban, I wouldn't put Urban on my list. I wouldn't. Really? That's me personally.
What about
I wouldn't put him on my list, but you brought his name up.
What about an up and coming our guy Herm Edwards, man? You think we can steal him from ASU?
Nah, I'm not a Herm fan, man. He hasn't proven it. Nah. We're talking about elite. Now he's proven that he can recruit.
That's all we need.
You need a little bit more than recruit. Jaden Daniels is a difference maker to you at quarterback?
Jaden Daniels is at ASU. This is Notre Dame. Herm gonna get the quarterback we need at Notre Dame.
Oh. Jamie McNeil said, where there's smoke, there's usually a fire, and we have plenty of smoke. All I can figure is that something suddenly went off the tracks at Notre Dame.
The dominoes fell. That bag was limited at Notre Dame. And once that decision fell on that fateful day when Lincoln Riley said, I'm out of here, Coach Kelly been looking for ways to get up out of here. He just wanted to buy time.
That pressure is something else, right?
He looks sad talking at the thing, talking about he the winningest head coach.
He knew he had 3 seasons to win a championship, and he had to ask himself, do I have the quarterback?
That's it.
He had to look himself in the mirror and say, which falls directly on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't blame that on Marcus Freeman. You can't blame Tommy Rees. Like, you haven't been able to get the quarterback or develop the quarterback.
That's right.
So, hey, defense is ready. Next 2 recruiting classes is going to have the roster talent ready. Do you have the quarterback? And that's a big question. That's another thing. Herm has some things to clean up with compliance, out at ASU. I don't think too much.
He ain't doing nothing different than Bama. It's just ASU. It's like ASU. It's like that's an easy smack on the face. Like
the NCAA picks and chooses who they want to go after.
NIL still a thing? How they even got investigations? The NIL so free?
Well, all the things that happened prior to, basketball wise, Kofi Coburn for Illinois sold one of his jerseys literally a week before the rule went into effect. Like, it was already established it was going to take effect, but it hadn't become official. He sold his jersey 7 days before that, so they fined him and made him sit out the first 3 games of the season. That's just dumb.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
I mean, why? Just let it go. But the NCAA having to be the NCAA. Carlos, I want to make sure I try to pronounce your name correctly. Carlos Garzatz And what's y'all opinion on ND lowering its academic standards? Never happened. I don't think it will ever happen.
You know, that academic thing is very serious.
That's a huge part of the brand, man.
That's what keep it that elite level. You can't take that away.
Yeah.
We might as well join the conference. We do that.
So once again, Brian Kelly reportedly has agreed, or there's an agreement in place for him to become the next head coach at LSU. Somewhere in between 12 to 14 million. I have a call out to Pete Sampson of The Athletic, who was one of the guys that broke the story. Hopefully he can join us here to talk about it, because I want to get the background. But once again, just to reiterate, this has been going on, these backdoor discussions between Brian Kelly, LSU agents, Brian Kelly, and Woodward, the athletic director down at LSU. They share the same agency, CAA, out in California, which is Jim Sexton and Trace Armstrong. So Swarbrick's press conference should be very interesting. And what I want Jack Swarbrick to come out and exude confidence, and pretty much say, yo, thank you. The relationship was fruitful. We thank Brian Kelly for his years and his tenure here and everything he did for the university. But God damn it, we know Notre Dame.
We know Notre Dame.
We're gonna win a national championship. That's what I want to see from Jack Swarbrick. And we're not crying. We're not doing this Oklahoma thing.
Because Oklahoma know they're going back in the dump.
Oklahoma crying, fans sad. Nope. We got 2 really good recruiting classes. We're gonna hold that together. And we're gonna get us a head coach and get us to the next level and win this national championship.
This is a very mutual separation, which is rare, but it almost it's not even bittersweet. It's like, thanks, man. We'll see you next time. But now it's time to get serious.
I agree.
Thanks for holding it up. Now it's time to dunk it. Thanks for throwing up the alley-oop. Now it's time to dunk it.
Yeah. That's it, man. It's really nothing as Irish fans, man. No one wants to see a relationship that's been this fruitful come to an end.
Yeah. It's been too good for too long. We would start complaining about O-line that was just regular O-line. You know?
It's been a 5-year engagement.
Yep.
Right? Like we dated from the time he got here, we dated to 2016. You know,
we jumped right in.
2016 was like a really bad year in the relationship, a crossroads.
He cheated on us. He
cheated on us. We could have broken up, but we decided to give another chance, you know, and
birthed the playoff after that.
Undefeated. Got engaged, and like through the engagement, realized like, you know what?
The fight was harder than what it was worth.
Yeah, and we just not meant to spend the rest of our lives together.
And it's cool.
It's cool. It's like, man, I'm glad you're in a good space. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't toxic.
We was dating other people living in the same house.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like this relationship, like bitter, hurt. It's like, man, Brian Kelly, that's what's up. We appreciate you. You're a top 5 Notre Dame head coach all time. You're on the top 5 list. You knew you would never be number 1 or 2. You know?
You think he's taking Tommy? You think he's taking Tommy?
Does Tommy Rees go with him?
That's his son now.
I would think so, because the next head coach, unless they immediately name like Freeman the head coach, and Freeman's like, yo,
you gotta stay.
And Freeman says, yo, it's your show. You know what I mean? Because he's the OC, but it's really Brian Kelly's offense.
Straight up.
You know, so if Tommy feels like it's his show, then I can see him staying at Notre Dame and growing and continuing to grow. Tommy might want to end up in the NFL.
I think that's where he really want to go.
If that's where he really wants to go, he can do it from Notre Dame. You know, so I'm sure he'll ask. but I'm not sure. I know Marcus Freeman's not going with him. I know that for a fact. I know Notre Dame called him immediately, like, "Hey,
you're good.
You're good.
You're good.
Yeah,
you don't even worry about it."
He could take Jeff Quinn though. He could take Jeff Quinn.
Take Jeff Quinn.
Take Dale Alexander.
Keep Lance there though.
Yeah.
But this is no different than what Notre Dame usually does. I mean, we had Matt LaFleur for 1 year. We had Denbrock for a couple years, Chuck Martin for a couple years.
Chuck Martin.
Stafford for a couple. I mean,
how many did you have? You had 3 OCs?
3 OCs. One coach for the Packers is 36-5 with the Packers. So coaches coming in out of Notre Dame is nothing new. That's just what the tradition holds. It's a hot ticket. You do well, you keep going to the next stage.
What they call Matt LaFleur?
Matt LaFleur is an NFL guy. He ain't thinking about no college.
I'm just saying.
You thought Dan Mullen was a bad as a representative. Matt LaFleur not trying to recruit. I'm trying to win football games, and he got one of the greatest quarterbacks up there doing exactly what he talked about. He was like, "Man, I'm not a recruiter. I'm in the X's and O's in the office early. We getting better,
Yeah. I got Anthony Solomon said, "Would love for Harry Heastan to come back and stick it to Quinn and Kelly." Let me tell you something. Whoever the next O-line coach is, he has talent. He has talent.
Like, got a group.
Yeah, he has a group. So any competent O-line coach should be able to come in and be cool.
Absolutely.
Man.
Now, do you think that with this happening, it'll affect how we play in this moving forward? Do you think we'll play better?
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I'm gonna keep it a thou wow. And I'm sure you can back me up to an extent. You've been in a locker room when the vibe wasn't right.
Okay.
You've been in a locker room when the vibe wasn't right. Let's go back to, because I don't know if you heard these comments, but I admonish, this is where I start thinking something's off. Colin Cowherd had who calls the game on Fox? Joe Klatt on last week.
Oh God, Joe Klatt is something else.
And Joe Klatt talked about he had never met Brian Kelly face to face. And he was talking about how great of a job Brian Kelly has done in Notre Dame. But he had never talked to him face to face. And he said when they did the Wisconsin game, he came up a day early to drive down to South Bend just to have a face to face. And he said he sat and he talked to Brian Kelly. And Brian Kelly told him, "This isn't my national championship team. This isn't a national championship team." Now, this is your head coach. Like 3 games in, like this isn't a national championship team.
He been there so long. He like, "Man, I'm telling the truth. This is what it is, man.
This is what it is. This is a national championship team, but we're building to that."
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's in my back of my mind. I'm like, what the hell you been building to the last 12 years?
He knew he maxed out in 2015.
That's my point. That's my point. It's like, okay, so Joe Klatt is talking about this, and Joe Klatt is speaking about it in a sense of, man, Notre Dame fans should be happy. And that's when I got irritated. Like, no. Happy with what? I'm not happy with my coach coming into the season saying this isn't a national championship team. Hey, you should have that quarterback on the roster. That's on you. And you should have the next national championship quarterback sitting behind him. And then the next one be a recruit.
But you knew he should have been done in 2016. He had to make the most drastic changes to a coaching staff and a program that I'm surprised they allowed him to even make. So he bought himself some extra time after that 2016 season to probably grab that winning spot because he knew after that 15 season when we could have won and we lost to Ohio State, and it became we couldn't win those big games against ranked teams. He knew after that it wasn't a huge after 16, and especially as being talented enough to do well in 16. He knew it was the ceiling that had been reached. Notre Dame being the perfect brand that they are day in and day out, they protected him.
Yeah.
They held on to him. They gave him they gave him his last chance.
Yeah.
Gave him some more money, gave him a refresh of the whole staff. He fired all his friends, and he ended up living to his end of the deal. So we really living on borrowed time anyway.
But 12 years, my man, yo, I don't know what else you can ask for from a school.
Yeah.
Like, we gave you 12 years. Stuck with you through the ups and downs. Like, that's it. But the fact in year 12 that you're telling this dude, like, yo, this isn't a national championship team.
That's honest.
It's honest.
Been lying for 12 years.
It's honest, but it's an indictment on you. It's an indictment on you as the head coach. It's like, yo, why not? In year 12, why don't you have a difference maker at quarterback? In year 12, why are you now just getting a dude that recruits elite talent on the defensive side of the ball? What were the other two dudes, Clark Lee and Mike Elko, doing? Why weren't they recruiting guys like that? Like, this falls on you. Why has it taken 12 years to get to this point? It's like, you know what? Yeah, you know what? We good.
We good.
And we're not about to sit here and debate and be angry. We're good. You go your way, we'll go our way. Everything is straight. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think he's gonna get killed in the SEC. I really don't. I really don't.
He been doing it too long. He know the formula. He know the formula to be good enough.
He knows how to finesse.
Oh yeah.
You can do it
at Notre Dame, you can do it anywhere.
He knows how to finesse. I mean, give me 5 coaches in the SEC better than him.
Maybe Jimbo Fisher, Nick Saban,
Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby.
But Kirby hasn't won a championship just like him. Come up short in big games just like him.
He got it. Kirby wouldn't tell Joe Klatt what Coach Kelly told Joe Klatt.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we got this one.
Right.
This year right here, oh yeah, we snacking this one.
Right. Exactly. And Joe Klatt was just like, yo, I was just amazed at, how open and how real he was. And I'm like, nah, fam. Like, you can be real, but you got to read between that. Like, why are you in year 12 and you're not ready? Because you got an early glimpse in 2012 what it was going to take and the level you had to get to. And here we are almost a decade later, and you still aren't there? Then what are we talking about?
And Coach Kelly knew that more than anything. And he knew that his leverage and time was coming to an end anyway. He's not going to be the one left standing in the cold, though.
For sure. Young kid 2K, we need a coach that's going to win these big games. Absolutely. That has to be the biggest requirement.
But it's a small packet of coaches to even pick from to do that.
Right. And I think that's why you threw Urban's name out there, because he just happens to be one of those coaches that can do that.
That everybody knows can do. That's the
like
type
it or
of
love it.
Expectation.
Like it or love it.
Expectation. Who do we know for sure?
And he wouldn't be on my short list, but like it or love it. If you said his name, I would feel 100% confident that on that football field, he would get the job done. Everything else, I don't know. But on that football field, he would get the job done. Like you said, make Bob Stoops. Yo, he's dealing with Oklahoma's issues right now. Like, do you want to go get him?
It's going to be interesting.
I mean, who? The Grand Slam. This is why I said Matt LaFleur. Because it would have to be somebody from the NFL.
Yeah, that's the only way to go at this point.
It would have to be someone from the NFL. It's just like that's a grand slam.
That's the closest you can get without getting those Hall of Fame coaches.
Yeah.
Unless Dabo, Dabo is like, you know what? Let's turn this thing around.
I mean, Dabo can wait 3 years and be at Alabama. He's basically just waiting for Saban to retire.
Yeah, that's it. He's trying to outweigh Saban.
He's waiting for Saban to retire. He knows that's his gig.
Yeah, easy.
So
I think a Paul Chris at Wisconsin will be a great coach that's similar scheme-wise to what we getting on the talent level. That's a really reliable coach that wins a lot. He may not be able to beat Ohio State, but he can beat some big teams with the right team.
It's not the sexiest pick, not the sexiest move, but hey,
I'm telling you.
Look, man, let me tell you something. This is about to get real interesting this offseason. Irish fans, man, put your seatbelts on. Because this, I'm telling you, if Notre Dame gets into this playoff, if everything goes the right way, and Notre Dame gets into this playoff and they have to face Michigan.
Oh, we whooping Michigan.
And Mike Elston beats Michigan, man.
Now, Mike will have to win the championship, though. He will have to win the championship.
Because this man told Joe Klatt, this team ain't it.
He did tell him that.
He said, this team ain't it. That's what he just told Joe Klatt. Right? And if they get in and then get to the championship game, now look, you know me, I told everybody there are only 2 teams that I just felt like I wanted no part of. I felt like Notre Dame could beat everybody and compete with everybody. No, but 3 actually. It was 3. It was Georgia, Alabama, and then I had Ohio State. Alabama hasn't impressed me. When I see teams like LSU, Arkansas, and Auburn staying in the game, I say to myself, oh, man, we can hold the offense down enough. Like, real talk. Like, okay. Especially if 14 is playing.
Yeah, especially if 14 playing.
Especially if 14 is playing. So now it's amazing that you hear that. And now I'm just like, the only team I really don't want to mess with
is Georgia. That's it.
And
everybody else is fair game.
Yeah.
Everybody fair game.
I know what Georgia's defensive front would do to our offensive line. I don't even need to see it.
Kyron wouldn't look like Kyron. Kyron wouldn't be Kyron that game.
No. That wouldn't be a good game for Jack Cohn. And it wouldn't be his fault. And it just wouldn't be his fault.
And I hope they wouldn't put Tyler in there because he running around and no.
Yeah, because you're not beating those linebackers to the edge, my brother.
You ain't beating the ends to the edge.
No. No. It's a totally different game.
Yeah.
So with everything, this is something I want to ask you. Are you disappointed? And man, chime in, Lucky Lefty Nation. Watching what you saw, do you feel like there should have been more on Tyler's plate by the time he got to Stanford? Because I feel like when I'm watching Tyler Buckner, I feel like I'm watching the same package from like 6 weeks ago.
But that's what I've been telling you since day one. They're going to not develop him by throwing him in there on things that you're looking for a spark. You're not looking to actually create a game plan for him to be able to manage the situation. You're like, we're just going to blitz you out there. Don't think about nothing. Make these few plays with your feet, with your arm, baby, and we'll see how it goes. It's no different than throwing in a receiver to run a decoy route. You know, you're not really you out there in the game, but you ain't getting the ball for real. He's not grasping, breaking down defenses, making a ton of reads. And it's easy to not develop him if you can keep that same package as a surprise attack during a game, the change of pace. So that's why it's upsetting because he's probably feeling away because he thought he was going to ride into next season being semi-prepared and of the expectations.
Yeah.
Saying that, okay, I grew well enough. Well, it come to find out you leaving, so it don't matter about nothing about this waiting and
Facts.
seeing, and you
Facts.
wasted a whole year of me not developing
Facts.
just so you can leave.
Facts.
So now another recruit gonna come in here and we even. It ain't even no difference between me and him at that point.
And let's keep it funky. I mean, Tyler could jump into the transfer portal if he wanted to.
Yeah, he should. I think he should.
Man, look, Anthony Solomon. I saw an interview with Tyler. He said he knows the entire playbook. Yeah, I believe he knows the entire playbook. It's about when he comes on the field, what does Tommy Rees relegate him to?
Yeah.
And like you're handcuffing the kid because people watch film and they know, okay, they're only going to run these 10 plays when he's in the game.
That's it.
And based upon the formation, that's why you saw Stanford jumping the pitch out of the shotgun when everybody else was getting beat by it previously. The slot guy was jumping it because he saw it out of the formation, and they blew it up. They blew it up when they ran it with Jack Cohn. They blew it up when they ran it with Tyler. Yeah, at that point, you would think Tommy Rees would have a counter to what he's shown on film to teams to give Tyler a better opportunity to be successful at that point.
It's like a gimmick way of getting the guys some playing time.
It's and that's all they've been doing.
Buckets, like, put the kid in, let him run whatever. Put some day one install in there. Give him some stuff that he ran in the first practice of his life. Stuff that doesn't have high risk to it.
Yeah.
We just gonna let him just get his dirty jersey or his jersey dirty so he can feel like he played a part of it.
D-Rock, our boy D-Rock Irish says, what about the former Boise Washington coach, Chris Peterson, or Kyle Willingham from Utah? Hey, man, Kyle Willingham from Utah, that's a solid coach. Very solid coach. Utah, in my opinion, has been one of the most consistent programs in the Pac-12.
Yeah, like an Iowa.
Yes, but I mean, this is a big A. This is Notre Dame, man. Look, this is Notre Dame.
That's what makes the picking so small.
Yeah, this is Notre Dame. This is a big step up, right? And expectations, like get a trip to the conference championship, and no, that's not cool. Like you're at Utah, you go to the conference championship, that's a good season.
Oh, yeah.
Notre Dame, there is no conference championship game. There's no conference championship. Like we got to go
undefeated.
We need to go undefeated to get into the playoffs, and maybe one loss with the expanded playoffs. One loss we're in.
One loss.
Yeah, there is no conference championship to look forward to. It's a totally different beast when you come to Notre Dame. It's not like it's a totally different beast, and you have to be ready to recruit nationally, and you have to be ready to play different styles of teams, different styles of offense. It's totally coming to Notre Dame is totally different, man. It's not like being in the Big 12 where everybody pretty much throws the ball.
That's it.
Or being in the Pac-12 where everybody throws the ball. Like you'll go from facing Wisconsin who wants to pound it, and then you'll mess around and face a Florida State that wants to throw it 30, 40 times. Yep. Then you'll see USC and North Carolina back-to-back with first-round wide receivers that can attack you.
And draftable quarterbacks.
And then the next week, you'll face Navy.
Yeah.
That's just going to line up.
On a huge trap game that takes mental focus.
Yes.
Navy will be a challenge moving forward, especially the first beginning years, because the head coach got to get a feel for what an academy school is every year,
Yeah. Jeff Brom, I guess, IOU, the writer sports. Jeff Brom, look, Jeff Brom is a very good candidate. Jeff Brom would get an interview. Jeff Brom's very smart, man, and he's done a lot with less.
Yeah,
at Purdue.
That's true.
And you see that doesn't have a huge ego because he saw the defense wasn't working. He got rid of his entire staff, brought in a new staff from the NFL, and immediately their defense, and I mean, he had a stud along the defensive line that helped as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to have the players, but he saw he's capable of making changes that need to be made.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have an ego. You saw that. So that's a good thing. He would get an interview. I don't know if he would be on my final list though, but he would definitely be
just too early. Just too early. Just too early. But it just goes back to it's a perfect job for the right person. The right person is not just sitting out there. We got to really put our work in to figure out what we need and what we want out of a guy expectation wise. It's not easy to just go get a national championship coach that's ready to win right now.
Look, there's a lot of people in the chat saying this coach would take the job. That coach, 90% of the country would take the Notre Dame job.
100%.
Look, man, I'll keep trying to tell Notre Dame fans, you got to know what you have. Like this brand is second to none.
Second to none.
Second to none.
You gotta be a great media guy. You gotta be a great politic type of guy.
You gotta kiss the babies. You gotta
kiss the babies. You gotta shake their heads. You gotta speak at all the fundraisers. You know, Notre Dame a little different. They got the fundraisers.
You gotta knob hob with the administration. Deal with the father.
Yeah. You deal with the grades and train and you know getting people in school. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And you got to go to bat for guys that admit, you know, when admission says no, and you really need a kid, you got to go to bat with admissions. Like, yo, we really need this kid.
And now you got to win every game.
Yes. So it's a different beast, man. And like I said, the coaches you guys have put out there, Brom, Willingham, Chris Peterson, really good coaches. But, yo, this ain't the Pac-12, man.
It's finna get real for somebody.
Yeah, that's why right now we're talking about hitting home runs, and you brought up Urban Meyer. Now we're talking about people from the NFL. That's real. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at because you need someone that's able to handle all of that.
Yeah, well, Coach Kelly leaving, he really raised the standard.
He did.
We just can't get no whatever coach. You know, we got to really go get somebody important.
Yeah, he brought the stand. He definitely raised the standard back to what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he raised it back to what it was before, and we thought Charlie Weiss could do that. He did it for a couple of years, but he wasn't able to have the in any relationship, you're going to have some ups and downs. Because I remember when Nick Saban first got to Alabama, he lost some games that was like, yo, how you lose to that team?
Yeah, that's not what we do around here, brother.
You know, but they stuck with him. You know, you're going to have to stick with the next head coach because it might not go well early on. You do know the next head coach has Ohio State out the box. Like, people don't forget that.
But maybe Coach Kelly didn't want that smoke. You can't start the season with a loss to Ohio State because your season almost over right there.
But see, I look at it differently because I'm in my mind, yes, CJ Stroud is coming back, but he won't have those receivers.
He won't have Chris Olave.
And he won't have Garrett Wilson either. Now he'll have Njigba Smith. Garrett Wilson is going first round.
Yeah.
That dude's a beast. That dude, Chris Olave, was kind of off Saturday. That cat Garrett Wilson came to play. And I love cats like him because he was letting that dude, he was letting Gray know.
He was letting him have it too.
In the snow. He's like, I'm killing you in the snow, my dude.
No, it's cold. I can't even feel the ball.
Right. I'm killing you.
Killing you.
And I was like, okay, that's the type of football I like. This is a question for you from Joe Easton. Oh, that's a beautiful dog you have on your picture there too. I know I'm late to the discussion, but for Malik, from a player's perspective, how do you react to your coach walking out on you? Do players have an ongoing suspicion the coach isn't going to be there? That's a good question. That's a darn good question.
The first time it happened to me, I was super upset because I was like, dang, how you just going? We were just talking about, but that's just young, not understanding leverage and the business and how this is these coaches is thinking about these next moves.
Right.
So the first time it happens to you, it's a little shock because if you're young, you're like, man, I got all these years ahead of me with a guy that recruit me.
Right.
Back then, it was way worse because you just couldn't leave. You know what I mean? Now you can leave. Spencer left just like the head coach. It's like they left at the same time. So for it to be so easy to leave now, it don't make no difference. You can, if you don't like it, go.
Oh man. I'm going to say something, man. Some of these Notre Dame players might actually be cool.
Some of them.
I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. Some of these Notre Dame players might actually be cool.
Yeah. Maybe.
And the coaches. It's not just the players. The coaches catch a vibe too.
That's true. That's true.
The coaches catch a vibe too. So
I want to know who's going to jump ship with Coach Kelly, because I know he won't leave the program with as much as Lincoln Riley's leaving the program with. Lincoln Riley done took the most important stuff in the bank.
Man, that cat Lincoln Riley took administrators, coaches. He emptied out the vault on Oklahoma. It wasn't like him and his family hopped on the plane. That dude had a plane full.
He said, "Me and the team are out.
Let's go.
We out.
We out.
We going to nice weather.
Y'all take me off, so I'm taking all my people with me."
And it's crazy. It is crazy because they all went.
Yes.
Coach Kelly said, "Marcus Freeman, come with me, man. Like let's rock out at LSU." He's like, "No, I'm good, bro.
I'm good.
I'm good."
I don't think Mike Elston would he leave either.
Nah, even the players, he'd be like, "Hey, Tyler, man, LSU, what's up?" No. I'm good. So
now,
that just tells you what you think,
Could this influence Isaiah Foskey and Kyron Williams?
To do what?
To bounce even more.
Oh, yeah, Kyron's done. Kyle's definitely done. 14's like, oh, you done?
Kyle's definitely done.
Kyle probably is looking for people to lease his apartment right now. He ain't thinking nothing about he transitioning to what weather climate he want to train in right now. He's ship scale. Coach Kelly done spoiled the egg on him for that.
Yeah, and I see I got Joe Easton. He says that he thinks that Elston and Reeves would go easily. No, it's Donnie Cruz. I'm sorry. Let me bring it up. Elston and Reeves go to LSU with Kelly easy. Elston is going to Beast and recruiting the SEC. That's why you make Elston the coach right now.
You know who they need to bring back? Who's the number one recruiter and will be a great head coach? Is Tony Alford out of Ohio State. He was the number one recruiter when he was at Notre Dame.
He's the number one recruiter at Ohio State.
Number one recruiter at Ohio State, and he wanted the head coaching job at Colorado State, and they didn't give it to him. If anybody know how to win, Coach Alford would be a great position, and nobody's talking about that.
That's an interesting.
Marcus Freeman would stay. Marcus Freeman would respect him because they've been in the state of Ohio. He know about Alford. Notre Dame knows about Alford. Alford got all the players, credentials, championships. He been with Urban, been with Ryan Day, been with Mike. He been around that.
SD, that's our Airedale. She's a princess. Literally, that's her AKC name. And appreciate your compliments. Yeah, she's a beauty. She's a beauty. I appreciate you, Joe. Notre Dame, first of all, you have to realize they can't vote until after the season, the assistant coaches, which makes what Lincoln Riley did was so gangster. Like, these coaches are under contract.
Yeah.
So what he did is so gangster. It's like, yo, they ain't coming back. So y'all might as well release them from these contracts right now. You know what I mean? And OU did it. You know, Notre Dame wouldn't be like that. Notre Dame is like, yo, these are our coaches. They're under contract. So they're staying here. Not only for the bowl game, but they're going to finish up this recruiting cycle. And then we'll see what goes down.
We'll see what goes down.
We'll see what goes down after we hire our head coach. Look, man, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow because we have to see what Jack Swarbrick has to say about this.
That's what we waiting on.
I'm waiting for a nice. I need Jack to come out there with his swag, like we straight.
Nah, straight up.
We straight.
Because that would tell if we're panicking for real or if we are ready for what comes next.
Yep.
Are we ready to take that step next, or are we going to be in a just like how the Dolphins have been bad because they haven't had Dan Marino since? You know what I mean? So
right.
It's one of those things. If they go in their administration head up how we got this, I don't think we'll skip a beat. And that's saying a lot, even though Coach Kelly's been great, it's saying a lot.
All right. That has been the wrap-up show / breaking news that Brian Kelly is headed to LSU as their next head coach, according to reports. Somewhere between 12 to 14 mil per year. That's what it's looking like. Press conference to be tomorrow, more than likely.
Tony Alford will win a championship his first year. He'll have the Kirby Smart effect.
That's crazy. Hey, it's been the Lucky Lefty podcast. As always, subscribe. Go subscribe right now. Hit the share button. Hit the like button. Let everybody know to follow us. Lucky Lefty podcast on YouTube, and hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at Lucky Lefty Pod. For my guy, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire, I am Shaun Davis. This has been the Lucky Lefty podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Star Talk. We'll see if Notre Dame gets up to that number 5 spot in the rankings.
Well, it's even trickier now. I don't even know if I want to see it now up there.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.